Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm very honored to have been asked to give a sermon for your Spring Memorial service today. This is one of my most favorite services because all of my favorite people attend, and the church is just packed. Well, even though most of our original elders have passed away peacefully, people were attending from home this year, and only a few people were actually in the worship hall. It still felt packed for our Spring Memorial service. You can feel the spiritual energy from all the mitama of the past. They were definitely there. It felt so warm and lively. It was like a big family reunion. For my sermon today, I've been asked to speak about examples of how I've applied faith in my everyday life, especially in my work and towards my coworkers. Basic daily application are probably very similar to what some of you already do. The first thing I do when I wake up is to sit up, look out the window, and give thanks to Kami-sama. At my home altar, I give thanks for the air and water when I change out our little water container. And while preparing meals, try to remember each time to give thanks to the plants and animals and pray for the health of my family. Regarding application of faith in work, I'd like to give a bit of background first. I know a lot of people have strong faith personally, but in a day and age where religion is not portrayed in a positive light, it is difficult to talk about, much less share your faith with others. We are always told teachings like Voice of the Universe, number 163. Just listening to teachings is not enough. You should develop faith within yourself. Or 164. No matter how well educated or smart you are, merely having knowledge about the faith is not enough. You cannot receive Kami's virtue unless the teachings of the faith are deeply absorbed into your heart and your faith is expressed in your life. How exactly do you express faith in life? Back in 2008, I remember I was so fed up with senseis, even though I was one, and sermons talking about faith. I asked Kami-sama, what is faith exactly anyway? This is the answer I received. Faith is to push on when you are too tired, to endure when everyone else has given up, to believe when all hope is lost, to be calm when all else is chaos, to be patient, to be kind, to give when all is taken away. Faith is to be selfless. For someone like me who lacks in strength and energy most of the time, this teaching has been my lifeline in so many situations since. One of the first times I tried to help coworkers was actually a year before this in 2007, back when I just started working as an admin assistant in a children's mental health clinic. 3 months in, our entire outpatient department was notified of pending layoff due to the recession. For me, it was a new job, so it wasn't a big deal. But for the psychologists working with the children there, they became extremely depressed. It was a bit ironic. I wanted to do something, help in some way, as they were so anxious that they could not function anymore and were at a loss of what to do, sometimes just stared off into space. Praying to Kami-sama, how can I help? What can help them? Remember the teaching. Just bringing a gift won't console a sick person. The sick person will get stronger or weaker depending on what you say. If you are kind enough to pay a consolation visit, you should convey words which will strengthen his heart. I wrote my first letters of comfort to help strengthen the hearts of those who were taking it the hardest. I think it was mostly to thank them for the work that they've done. Then somehow, I came up with the idea to take my son's huge marble run maze set. It's a set of grooved wooden blocks to create mazes with, and you drop a marble from the top to watch it run through the many paths to the bottom. I took out a bunch of pieces and left it on the table. It was amazingly therapeutic. They were just drawn to it, building and watching the marble run its course through the maze. I can't remember if I added the words then or a day or two later, but I posted a sign next to it with something like, life is like a maze. We never know when it will twist or turn, so enjoy the roller coaster ride. But then more seriously next to it, destiny shifts to where our hearts point. So even as waterfalls approach, hold on, believe, and aim high. Then although we may drop over the edge, we will see the rainbow that eases our fall and gain the strength and courage to continue. Basically saying it wasn't the end. The words were based off of what Uzunoe sensei of Gardena Church told me once. How when Kami's wishes and people's wishes come together, the universe shifts and the sound, blessings result. I added a photo 2 years later and put it in a small frame for 2 of my coworkers when I was working at Kaiser, so the message could be more of a visual reminder that even though things may seem hopeless, the approaching waterfall, praying and keeping our hearts toward Kami, believing and aiming high, will allow us to see the blessings, the rainbows, and change our outcome for the better. Or we learn a lesson for next time, which would be gain the strength to continue. One coworker was very sour and complaining about her situation. She applied for a job that was reposted, but did not meet the criteria. My other coworker was determined, and she worked hard to get her extra certification. Her heart was pointing to the future. She received a new position and a raise. I had written in my notes that as of March 12th, 3 years later, she still had that teaching up in her cubicle. Showing compassion and care, combined with prayers, is a powerful thing, and it doesn't have to be something grand. I was given a smooth rock once. I actually got up to get it while I was giving my sermon, with the words, "You are compassionate. Trust in Kami 100%. And it's from the Uzunoe Faith Training Institute, 2015, given to me by a student. I kept it as it meant a lot to me at the time, as I was going through a major health issue, and it was just a rock. But there was strong prayer behind those words. Something I learned over the years is that faith isn't something that can be taught. It is something that must be observed and absorbed. This is why words alone won't convey faith. It is through your actions and the energy you project. Therefore, it is even possible that you can share faith without saying a single word. Another thing I learned is that timing is everything. Some members have said, but people don't want to hear about faith or even spirituality. And that's totally fine. Be happy for them. But when someone isn't happy or going through a difficult time, that's the time to reach out. Kami told Konko Daijin, help troubled people like yourself. Not all people in general, but specifically troubled people. As a Konko believer, our roles are to help people see Kami's blessings, especially during the hard times. So be on the lookout for the many opportunities Kami is sending you. I never say or write, I'm sorry for your loss, to anyone who lost a loved one anymore. I never liked it, and now, instead, I pray and find something that I'm thankful for, that I can write or say, words that give strength. For one of my coworkers, I wrote, I was grateful that she was able to have extra time with her mother before she passed, so that as an Asian daughter, she wouldn't have any regrets about doing everything she could for her parents, which was one of her concerns. Birthday cards are wonderful opportunities. Our department, actually we had 3 different departments in the same building, so we always had a few birthday cards going around. Everyone knew either to give them to me first or to leave room for me and give it to me last. Because for the people I knew, I would take the time to try to write something sincere and meaningful, uplifting. Several times people would come to find me to comment on what I wrote and how nice it was. Sometimes they weren't even the recipient of the card. Here's the thing, I'm not a good writer. Sometimes, especially for a senior, instead of a funny, sarcastic, wow, that's a lot of candles on the cake kind of comment, it would be as simple as, our day of birth, a day to count the many amazing years of life you've had. I'm glad I could share a few with you. They were nothing preachy or even spiritual, but people can feel sincerity. It does make a difference to people, although they may not always acknowledge it. So take the time to pray and be sincere in everything you do and say. And in time, I guarantee people will begin to notice. Andy Sensei, our head minister, always says, take the okekai mediation seat with you. So as my grandmother prayed for people on the walkway above the freeway near our church, I would pray for the people of the city as I drove over mine to work, as it was one of the highest bridges we have, and I could see most of Portland from it. Before entering the work building, I would take a deep breath and pray to leave my personal self outside, and please allow me to be of service to my work and co-workers. Prayed for the happy, joyful energy of Kami-sama to flow through me to them. I couldn't have an altar on my desk, so I created a nature space as one. It started out as just a bamboo placemat from Bed Bath & Beyond that I propped up with a rock that a coworker brought back for me from one of her hikes. Later, I added a tiny spider plant in a glass vase. That was it. I had a coworker, an RN, an avid cyclist who came to my desk when she was stressed and say, I need more of this Zen energy. She was great. There's a section in the Voice of the Universe titled Faith and Work. Number 280 says, people who are able to live because of the blessings of Kami should work for Kami every day. The daily work that you do is your faith training. Therefore, if you work with a thankful heart, you can receive great blessings every day. 281. Carrying a heavy load on your shoulder or back is burdensome, but practicing faith is not. It is easy. Have your everyday work be the same as practicing faith. So even now, with my cleaning house business I started just a year ago, called Harmonious Homes LLC, I try to do the same. On my website I wrote, cleaning is meditative for me, as I enjoy the exercise as well as thanking the items we use each day as I clean them. With this positive energy and smile, I hope your home will be happy as well as your heart. I pray as I'm taking my shower to wash away any of my own negative energies. Pray as I'm cleaning both for the family's health, safety, and prosperity, as well as for church believers. And bow in front of the house before and after cleaning. I pray for any irreverence or negativity from the family to be washed away when I shower afterwards and sanitize the cloths. One of the times in my chit-chat with a client early last year, she mentioned a memorial gathering she was putting together for a friend who just lost her husband in an accident and was having a very difficult time. I just listened while I was there, but then after I got home, I took a chance and texted her 3 picture teachings we had regarding the loss of a loved one. Told her if she thought any of those teachings would help comfort her friend, to please pass them on, but if not, please disregard. I casually put it out there as an offer. My client liked them so much she ended up asking to purchase 75 of 2 different kinds of those teachings to give out during the gathering, and thank me later as they were received well. Within the 2 years I cleaned for another lady, and the last year on my own, 6 of the families I've cleaned for have been able to move to bigger, nicer houses. Maybe that's just the trend, but I also feel Kami-sama is showing me the power of prayer. In the article I just submitted to the Konko Review last month, I was asked, what would you like to improve as a minister? One of my answers was something Michie Sensei, the senior minister and previous head minister of the Portland Church, has always taught us. What we need to do as Konko believers is receive blessings that people can see. Because when we do, people will begin to notice and ask why, how, and through either curiosity or desperation of their situations, they will come to find out. This is how Konko Daijin's faith spread before, and this is how it can spread again. Michie Sensei taught that it is not the blessing itself that is the true blessing. The true blessing is your heart, the state of your heart that was able to receive that blessing. Do not forget this. Because if you can remember or keep your heart in that state, then you will continue to receive blessings endlessly. Pay attention to faith. Do not be afraid to share your blessings. It is because people do not pay attention that people do not see the blessings they are receiving. Because people do not feel they are receiving, they feel they have nothing to share. Those who have received blessings are afraid to share. Therefore, faith, religion, and churches are failing. However, Kami-sama's blessings have not lessened. Only our awareness of them has. Last month, when we went to our Portland Church founder's gravesite, Reverend Bunjiro Hirayama, to give thanks and pray, a huge hummingbird came flying in, hovered close to my son over one of the bushes, and flew off. I have never seen a hummingbird in the gravesite before, and never one that big. During the gravesite service 2 weeks later, one of our members pointed out a very large falcon or hawk on a high branch across the way. And it wasn't just any hawk. It was magnificent. I was so awed by it that it flew off with its partner before I could get a picture. On New Year's Day, we've seen a coyote and an eagle in the same way. People might say it's just a coincidence, or they're just animals, so what? But we know and can feel that Reverend Hirayama is happy and letting us know that he is still watching over us. As Konko believers, let us all receive blessings that people can see, to bring faith to life again. If you don't feel you're receiving such blessings, seek mediation. Your mediators, Joanne Sensei, Kawahatsu Sensei, Alan Sensei, Rodney Sensei, will be able to guide you to realize your blessings. This San Francisco church has great virtue from your founding ministers. Fukuda Sensei, Shinko Sensei, Matsui Sensei, all have received tremendous blessings. The lay member Mitama of this church are just as strong, if not stronger, especially so in an anniversary year. You stand on the shoulders of giants. Do not let their virtue, their legacy die. Bring them back to life. Remember, recall what those blessings were. Record them and retell them. Then ask the Mitama for their guidance. One last thing I would like to share is something that came to me in the wee hours of the morning a few weeks before. The role of parents is to work to ensure kids are happy, healthy, know and have a heart of kami. The role of grandparents is to share faith stories with their children and grandchildren. Most people I talk to say they got their faith from watching and listening to their grandparents. This is a very critical role. The role of ministers and elders are to teach and show people the ways of the universe and lead by example of how to live harmoniously and appreciatively within it, as well as to relay Kami's messages and instructions to seekers when they receive blessings or have troubles. The children's roles, actually this applies to all of us believers, is to ask questions and learn, observe and copy, seek to develop a Kami heart, then share the joy with others. Together we make up a church, so realize your blessings, share them, and teach others to have a heart of gratitude that can receive blessings as well. Then, in this way, we can bring to life, live, and pass on the legacy of faith. Thank you.